McLaren Trophy Europe is in action at Spa-Francorchamps this weekend. It's only our second event of the season, but race 2 is going to kick off race day here for the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa, a race in which McLaren, of course, has a very good chance of a good result. But a grid full of McLarens to start the day. Race 4 of the season in McLaren Trophy Europe, and after a really lively race yesterday, we're looking forward to more of the same in what is unquestionably the championship's best season to date. Bigger grids than ever before. This weekend, some new faces, some returning faces, and some regular faces. David Addison and Tony Erdos are trackside. Yesterday, we had a race that was always in doubt, pretty much, and ultimately it gave us a win for Will Aspin and Harry Burgoyne, their first as a partnership, and we're looking forward today, Tommy, to seeing exactly what pans out with a very different grid and a different start driver.
Yes, great to be back here. Sunny Spa again. Temperatures were really hot yesterday. Nice to see, obviously, the first race of the day for us, and a little bit cooler for the drivers. So I'm sure they'll welcome that that cooler weather for today's race. Yeah,
all these things being relative, we've got the temperature heading towards 29 degrees according to the data right now. Car's on track, and just to make the point, today's race will be started by the, if you like, higher graded driver. It's a bit unfair to call one a pro and one an am, but the higher graded driver, and Michael O'Brien, is going to start from pole position. There's a mandatory pit stop even if you do go solo, and one of the soloists is Philippe Pret, who certainly gets his value for money because he was also a soloist here last week in the two GT2 European Series races in which he was a winner in a Maserati, but Michael O'Brien starting on pole position. This year, again, as I say, the championship with bigger grids. One of the features, of course, is this extra power, this sort of push-to-pass facility that the cars have.
That's right, David. So they have the sort of a bit of a gadget on the steering wheel, which is really a push-to-pass button, and that gives them an extra 35 to 40 horsepower on top of the already 580 plus. So altogether, 620 horsepower is on tap for about 300 seconds.
Okay.
During the race. So sounds like a lot, but a lot of straights here at Spa, and if you use that too much, then your second driver may not have enough to end the race with.
And although we call it a push to pass, depending on how you want to play it, it could be a push to pull away or a push to catch as well.
Absolutely, and it all plays in the strategy of the race. Of course, you see that probably at the beginning of the race, at the start of the race, where people want to get away from the cars are very close together, so have a good clean start. So yes, you see those daylight running lights at the front of the car, not the main lights, but the daylight running lights. When they're flashing, that means they're activating the push to pass button.
Okay, now let's head to the grid because Klaus Halsig was the Papaya Cup champion last year. He's on the grid, so too is Bryn Lucas. Let's go and have a quick word with Klaus before we go much further.
Yeah, so Klaus, not on the grid this year. I know that you've got plans for other racing as well for next year, but tell us, what was it like for you in your career when you won Papaya Cup last year?
It was an outstanding moment, really. Yeah, I would say the result of very hard work, committed work, together with the team and my coach, Bradley Ellis, and it was outstanding, a feeling of fulfillment and joy.
Give us an idea of what it's like then to race these cars, the opportunity that it brings you, the sensation around somewhere like Spa and those other iconic circuits.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you are buckled into the seats and you go, and all the G-forces that you are feeling, the lateral acceleration, it's an incredible feeling.
Well, the cars are starting to make their way onto the grid right now, so enjoy this one. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Klaus Halsig kind of epitomising the gentleman driver side of this. You know, you can go off and build up a business, come racing, get a quick co-driver who not only helps your result, but helps you as a driver.
Absolutely. We are so proud to have Klaus in this championship, and deserving champion. Again, so well backed by Brad Ellis, a great driver who unfortunately not on the grid this year. So wish Brad all the best for whatever he's doing. But yeah, Klaus really, epitomizes the championship really with the Pro-Am element of the class that's really made this championship to start with. And so great to see him on the grid there enjoying the sunshine here at Spa, and obviously giving maybe some advice to some of the Pro-Am pairings.
Sure, that Papaya Cup taking its name from the McLaren Orange, and it's really aimed at the older gentleman driver. Let's get back to the grid. Pole car Michael O'Brien starts. Josh Mason is his co-driver, and Josh Mason is with Bryn.
Torrid time for you guys out here yesterday with the retirement very early on with the car. Has it all been fixed? I'm assuming it has. The car's behind us.
No, I think it's thought it was definitely sure it had been fixed. You know, Michael did a fantastic job in qualifying too. He only had one lap to deliver, and he did it. So yeah, now it's just focus on the race this morning, have a clean start, and see where we end up.
Michael is the reigning champion, the overall reigning champion, and you're stepping in there as his new teammate. And so an element of pressure comes on your shoulders as well to deliver and help him deliver both the title for himself and for you. But this season has been so hard to get going.
Yeah, it has been difficult, but I think Michael and I are pushing each other. You know, even though he's a reigning champion and we're stepping out with him, you know, the pressure's on both of us to still deliver. So hopefully the luck should turn around for this race and our championship can really start now.
It certainly needs a bit of a kick up the backside, as they say, but good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Josh Mason, who came into the McLaren Trophy last year, having raced predominantly in single-seaters prior to that, in GB3, in the Indian-based MRF Challenge for a season, got as far briefly as Formula 2, but then had this career switch and did race in last year's 24 hours. Michael O'Brien starts then on pole position. It's going to be Jon Lnacaster to line up alongside. Jon, with all due deference, we don't necessarily expect to be a race winner because he's in a Pro-Am entry, and Ron Trenka is the Am. He doesn't have the same pace as Jon Lnacaster, even though he's got faster season on season on season. And Ron Trenka will do the second stint in that car on the outside of the front row. And in fact, we might as well go and have a word with Ron. Bryn's found him for us.
Well, Ron, in class, you guys are absolutely flying at the moment. It wasn't the best result for you. In fact, it's your worst result here yesterday with a 5th place. But if 5th the worst, that's not so bad.
Oh, not bad at all. We had a bit of a challenge. We had an incident in FP1. Guys did a great job getting the car back together. But in FP2, we had a radiator issue, which took us out again. So our first real laps were in free practice 3 right before qualifying. So despite that, P5, I'm happy with that.
Absolutely, yeah. And for this race here, starting in the position you are, front row of the grid, that's a pretty good place. It's one of the best places to start.
Oh yeah, right on the outside. I'm happy about that.
What realistically can you guys do here? Because you're in the Pro-Am class, but you've got the pros all around you. Is this a 2nd place overall, a 1st place overall, or are you looking purely at class?
We're shooting for the top step. Absolutely.
Reach for the stars. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ron Trenka gets quicker every time he gets in the car, it seems, and he's been really loyal to McLaren, whether it's been in the One Make Series or briefly in GT Cup, but he's getting faster all the time.
Yes, Ron and Klaus Houtwig, those two guys have done pretty much all the races in the championship from day one, so great competitors, and big shout out there to Jon Lnacaster, who we don't speak much about him, but what a great performance there on the front row of the grid, only less than 3/10 away from Michael O'Brien's pole position lap, which incidentally he was, Josh said that he only had 1 lap to do it, and I was watching qualifying yesterday from race control, and he was 16th on the grid until the last lap, and then bang, there he goes, puts it on pole. So a class act there from Michael O'Brien.
Yeah, absolutely. Jon Lnacaster, likewise, LMP2 European Le Mans Series champion many years ago, but another ex-single-seater racer. Now, on the 2nd row for Paddock Motorsports is the car that Maximilian Tarillion will start, but Kevin Rawshide, returning to the championship this weekend, will take over that car. And from 3rd on the grid, let's hear from them. Bryn is down there.
Yes, taking over the car from Stephen Lake, who ran it in Monza here alongside your teammate. And, a good result for you guys yesterday in the podium.
Yeah, we got the podium after the podium ceremony, but we're happy that we take a trophy home. I think it was well deserved. We had a good pace in the race, and just the 2nd safety car made us lose 15 seconds lead. So we're happy with P3 and the podium.
Well, you've got the cooling vest on. Stay cool and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we had 1 or 2 shuffles to the order yesterday. The race was very, very marginal against the 50-minute clock, and the checkered flag went out just fractions of a second before the allotted 50 minutes. So the result had to be backdated, because if a flag goes out early, technically it should actually go back a lap under the FIA Sporting Code. Normally people think the result should be just when the flag came out, but technically if you talk to stewards, it should go back a lap, and that's what happened. Right, so you've heard then from drivers that will take over the top 3 cars on the grid. 4th on the grid is going to be the car that's now had 2 second places this year for CSA Racing, number 111, the Edgar Pierre James Higgins car. James Higgins is going to start. Edgar Pierre will take over. And that is the first car that we get to on the grid that gets compensation time from its results yesterday. If you're in the top 3, you carry 7, then 5, then 3 seconds extra in the pits. Another man to watch in this race is going to be Will Martin. He starts 8th on the grid for Greystone GT. He's with Bryn.
Yeah, we're about to clear the grid, Will, and you're starting in not a bad position actually when you look at where you are in the grid here and the conditions here. We haven't really spoken about the conditions. It's already baking hot here in Spa.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible to be honest. You know, the race in the first stint yesterday was awful. You know, you're sweating so much. It's not enjoyable, but you know, we're here at Spa and a McLaren, so can't go too much worse.
We Brits love the weather. We wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can tell we're Brits. All we talk about this week is the weather and how hot it is. We moan when it's cold, we moan when it's hot, and most Brits are walking around back home complaining about the heat, and then they go on holiday to a hotter country. Haven't quite worked that out. Hugo Back starts then in number 33, that Greystone GT car. The point, though, that drivers are making about the temperatures, it's kind of worse at the moment at any time of day, really, Tommy, if you are the starter driver, because you're in the car for longer. You know, you've got to get in, you've got to wait to be allowed onto the circuit, then you have to get to the grid, you have to wait on the grid. You're getting warmer all the time.
Absolutely, they're more like sweaty Bettys really in the car than race drivers. But they have the hard slog, as you say, at the beginning, getting hot. But you know, today's the first race of the day, the McLaren Trophy race. So it is cooler. I know it's hot down there now. It's 29 degrees, but it was something like 34, 35 yesterday.
Yeah, that's about
so
right.
It's a little bit cooler, and hopefully that'll be a little bit better for drivers and the cars, a bit easier for the cars as well.
So, grid is formed. Going to be a rolling start. That's another change for this season. There's the daunting Eau Rouge. But let's have a quick look at this circuit. Tommy, just talk us around. 7 kilometres of Spa.
Fantastic place. I mean, again, it's a driver's dream to drive around here. Of course, Eau Rouge is the corner that everybody talks about. We come into Eau Rouge, something like 150 mile an hour plus, and then dive into it. Up the Le Combe Straight, or the Camel Straight, and it's actually uphill, so it's slightly uphill all the way up to brake for Le Combe. Late braking out. Again, top speed around 270, 280 clicks. Again, very, very fast. And then into the right, left, and right of Le Combe. Again, down the short straight to what was called Rivage now, Brussels hairpin, but it's more than a hairpin. It's quite a fast entry, a second or third gear through there, and then over to what's called, I've been told by my fellow commentator, it's the speaker corner.
That's right.
We called it something else. I'm not going to say it. But it was really difficult, that left-hander, because it cambers away, so you have to be careful how you apply the power. Then all the way down to Pouhon, the double left, very fast. You've got to watch for your track limits out of Pouhon. And just run down to the Piff Path. And not sure how that name came about for that corner, but it kind of feels like a piff and a puff, right and a left. And you then over to the Stavolo corners, the Stavolo 1 and Stavolo 2. Just really straightforward right-handers. Very easy to run up wide after Stavolo 1, but you need a really good acceleration there coming out of Stavolo 1, because Stavolo 2 is pretty much flat. Maybe a slight bit of an ease on the power. If you're using the push-to-passes, you've got more power on the rear wheels. And then the run up to the bus stop, obviously through Blanchimont, which in these cars is not flat out, and very challenging, fast left-hander leading up to the final corner there, the bus stop. A very, very tight, slowest speed of the circuit, I think, into the right hand of the bus stop, and then a burst of power coming onto the pit straight again.
And there, looking down onto the start line. For differing races this weekend, different start lines. The finish line is always where it is coming out of the chicane. That's the control line, the timing line. But for some races, the 24 hours amongst them, they use the old start line, really for the purposes of history, for ceremony. But we're, as befits a Formula One brand, using the Formula One start line, even though it's going to be a rolling start. So engines now fire. The engineers, with that 1 minute signal given, fire up the cars, close the doors, wish their start driver well, and then flee to the pit lane. There's not much they can do now, barring drama. The Alfab car, you can see there, the black and gold livery, that was a class winner for the second time this season. Yesterday, Eric Behrens will take over from Alejandro Geppert, former champion, and another very quick car. Eric Behrens has been racing for a long, long time, and he's also raced in the American Championship this season, which is new McLaren Trophy America. So Michael O'Brien, who is a much underrated driver, he's been a race winner, not just in this, as well as being a champion, but he's been very successful in historic single-seaters, been a winner at Goodwood, but he's also been a race winner for Bob Neville's team in British GT with the eSport star James Baldwin. It's a shame that we don't see Michael in GT3, but in this championship, reminding people just how good he is. His father, Mike O'Brien, also was a very rapid single-seater turned touring car racer. Dad used to have the only Holden Commodore that we've had in the British Touring Car Championship that Alan Docking ran. But now then, the pace car as it is takes them away for the formation lap. Trevor Williams, the race director, gives the command. Everybody blasts away from the line, and a last opportunity here to get a bit of warmth into the Pirelli rubber. They're allowed to weave, and then as they get towards the end of the lap, the command is given to go back into that 2x2 formation, ready for the rolling start. 96 there is another of the cars to watch. Damaged yesterday, Charlie Martin crashed it, but Emily Bishop, who didn't get a drive yesterday, will go first today.
Yeah, it's been good to see Emily on form today, hopefully, and giving that car a result that they really deserve. So very unfortunate there. What we didn't see yesterday when Charlie Martin went out, she actually clipped the apex curb on the right side. Now, the camera didn't show us that; it just showed us this shot now on the TV. We can see the top of Radion. That's when the car went off into the barriers. But what happened down the hill there from us is that she clipped that inside curb, and that's what made her spin.
Let's have a quick look at the grid then. Michael O'Brien starts on pole position with Jon Lnacaster lining up with him at the front, ahead of Maximilian Tyrillian and James Higgins going from 4th. Aston Miller is 5th with Matt Higgins, no relation to James, ahead of him, 6th on the grid from Alessandro Fabi, and then Hugo Back starting 8th. 9th is where you find William Gosselin in a car that yesterday started from the pit lane and then retired hurt. Vincenzo Scarpetta is alongside another car that retired yesterday, that one. Philippe Pret, soloist, is on row 6th with Lucas Valcre, who was a race winner at Monza. Then you've got yesterday's winners, Harry Burgoyne and Will Aspin. Harry starts, but a long way back on the grid. One to watch in the first stint. Alejandro Geppert is next from Ross Kaiser, and then Emily Bishop. Another winner is Riccardo Iannello. He's on the 9th row with Christian Brooks for company. That's a car that suffered with track limit offences, so it's a long way back on the grid, number 99. The back row, Fernando Daria and Callum Davis. And Callum, as we saw yesterday, and indeed we saw at Monza, he's quick and he's brave, and he's going to be one to watch. It says Luca Magnussen on that graphic, but it should be Callum Davis to start. So the cars come then towards the Piff Paff. They'll turn their way into that right and left, and then the short straight that takes you down towards the 2 elements of Stavelot, renamed now as Campus for Part 1, because that's where the college is. And then you've got the Cours Paul Frère, named after the great Belgian journalist racer, Paul Frère himself, one of the key people that suggested to the RACB, the RAC of Belgium, that as the 24 Hours as a touring car race was really struggling, you ought to go and have a word with that bloke Stefan Rattel, because he's running this GT championship and getting big grids, and I wonder whether we could do anything at Spa, and the rest is history. So down they come through the exit of the Cours Paul Frère. This has been a part of the circuit, not just this weekend, but last week as well, the British GT event that's been catching people out. Cars running wide over the curb, and once you sort of go over the curb, Tommy, that gravel just seems to drag you in.
The problem with Stavelot too is you need to get on power very early to get onto that long stretch ahead of you. And on Blanchimont, most things are flat. It isn't in these cars. These cars have so much horsepower that even Blanchimont is a definite corner for them. And you can see obviously why people run wide and they get down for track limits. But everything happens at the exit of Stavelot too, in a sense that you have to get on power very, very, very early to get that stretch all the way up until you brake for the bus stop chicane. So yeah, it's difficult to keep the car there within the white lines.
So you've got the teams looking at the pictures on their phones. They'll also have the timing data to study. And the first thing they all need to be conscious of is the rolling start. Then, as the cars get themselves into formation, pit window between 20 and 30 minutes. The lead car dives out of the way. It is up to Michael O'Brien now to control the pace. An O'Brien-Lancaster battle into turn 1 is going to be worth watching. It's going to be Michael O'Brien in the almost camouflage army colours then on the inside line. It's Jon Lnacaster on the outside. It is round 4 of McLaren Trophy Europe. Jon Lnacaster slightly in advance then, but now Michael O'Brien sort of catches up to him. The lights on the gantry, red go green. We go racing for the second time this weekend at Spa, and a good start by Jon Lnacaster, although Michael O'Brien is on the extra power as he tries to get back up the inside line, and he does take the lead diving into La Source. Maximilian Tyrillian trying to squeeze past Lancaster, but he can't do it. Jon now uses the extra grunt down the hill and goes to the inside, and he's blocked just by Michael O'Brien as they plunge downhill. You've got James Higgins in 4th place as well. And it looks like a quick starting Aston Miller in 5th. They go up Eau Rouge then for the first time. And so far, so good. A decent getaway by Jon Lnacaster, but Michael O'Brien with the track position on the inside line is the race leader.
What a great sight there through Eau Rouge, all 20 cars. And once again, through La Source with no contact. Great stuff by all drivers.
Absolutely right. Max Torillion in that pink-nosed car. Then under attack, look from James Higgins. Aston Miller in the DTO entry. The black and white car is in 5th spot. And as the field turns now out of Les Cons for the first time, you've also got the red car of Paddock Motorsports, Matt Higgins in the mix as well. A little bit further back, trying to make some progress. There it is. That's the one that he shares with the Trinidad and Tobago driver, David Coelho. Right, leaders downhill. Top 3 edging away just a little. James Higgins 4th, dropping back, isn't he? He's having to defend from Aston Miller, and that means the top 3 are just escaping a bit.
Michael O'Brien there using a fair bit of his push-to-pass button. He was the only guy, well, certainly in the first 2 rows, using the push-to-pass at the start of the race, and still on the button again. He wants to get away and try and get a bit of a lead and a gap to Jon Lnacaster.
The other one to watch in this is the Alfab-backed car. There it is, of Alejandro Geppert, because he started 14th and he's into the top 6 pretty much already. He's had an amazing first few corners, a lot of dust being dragged onto the road at Piff Paff, out of which the cars come, now turning into Campus. Alejandro Geppert, the Spanish driver, the Swedish flag on the top of the car for the owner, for Erich Behrens. Class winners yesterday. Geppert, outright champion of seasons past, and now the cars accelerate up towards Blanchimont. Geppert, another one then, using that push to pass.
Yeah, it's an incredible start there to 7th position, as you say. 6th now, actually P6 for Geppert, and 3rd in the Pro-Am class. Obviously Lancaster with Ron Trenka as the Pro-Am leader at the moment in 2nd position. But talking to Erich Behrens earlier, he was very happy with Geppert's performance, and once again showing his class there.
And Geppert squeezing up the inside of Aston Miller there in the middle of the chicane. Miller gets forced out wide, and it's going to be Geppert just ahead as they come across the line. But now Aston Miller will fight back. He's got the inside line up towards La Source. Aston brakes as late as he dares and squeezes back through on the inside. Geppert hung out to dry on the outside, but just avoids the gravel. Now you've got Matt Higgins in the red car looking for a gap on the inside that soon disappears. So Geppert trying to attack, trying to defend, all at the same time here as they drop downhill. This is lap 2. O'Brien leads by 1.3 seconds, but a bit like yesterday, Aston Miller having to make that car very wide indeed.
That's absolute classic one-make racing. Look at that, all these cars very close together, nothing between them really in terms of car performance. And Michael O'Brien once again on that push-to-pass button, but he's doing exactly the right thing. Look at the gap now to Jon Lnacaster, probably a good 2.5 at least at this stage, which is exactly what he wanted.
And how times change for one-make racing. When it all started, it was Minis and Ford Escorts and Renault 5s. Now it's McLarens or other luxury brands. Down they come towards Bruxelles. Lap number 2. Aston Miller on this lap, incidentally, has done the absolute best first sector in his quest to get away, catching perhaps back onto the tail of the traffic ahead as they come down the hill once more. So Miller looking rapid, and Alejandro Geppert, who was ahead of him when they came over the stripe, doing his best to make further progress in this race. Now Michael O'Brien looks like he's sorted out that early threat of Jon Lnacaster and is starting to get away. The AM class, incidentally, Philippe Pret leading from Emily Bishop. There's a bit of a gap between them, in fairness. Emily did barely any driving at all yesterday, so she's been thrown in at the deep end a little bit as the start driver here.
Yes, unfortunately for Emily, very few laps under her belt, so she will have the race to sort of get herself dialed in, tuned into the car, and yeah, so steady progress at the moment for Bishop.
So O'Brien leading and looking a little bit further back as the field comes through. Harry Burgoyne and Callum Davis, 2 others that are trying to make some progress. There you've got Matt Higgins, that's 7th. And the queue of cars starting to close a little bit ahead of him. He's on the back of Geppert, who switched back behind Aston Miller. So to the chicane they come, and it is O'Brien, Lancaster, Torillion the top 3, and Higgins trying to go around the outside of Geppert. Aston Miller is up the curb and there's contact there. Matt Higgins went for a gap alongside Geppert that soon disappeared. They lean on each other. Geppert almost towards pit in there. He got elbowed so far wide. And he's got the inside line coming up towards La Source, although Matt Higgins is not taking any of this line down, is he? We've seen him in GT4 in the past. Comes from a rally background. Dad David, a multiple American rally champion. Uncle Mark, British rally and rallycross champion as well. Turned stunt driver, so a good motorsport family, the Higgins is. Right, Harry Burgoyne I was mentioning, he's up to 11th place now. Callum Davis up to 17th as they push forward.
Yeah, the 68 car of Burgoyne and Aspin obviously qualified outside towards the back of the grid, sort of 3 or 4 rows from the back. obviously some issues yesterday in qualifying too for that car, so obviously making their way up now. Of course, they have the 7-second penalty as well for winning the race yesterday.
Let's have a look at what was going on a lap ago at the chicane. So Matt Higgins on the outside. Thoughts on this, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, 3 into 1 corner is always going to be difficult, isn't it? But such a hard racer, Geppert there, just pushing it as much as he can. And, you meet him outside the car, and he's as nice as pie, really nice and gentle sort of character, but he's a hard racer when it comes to it.
I think Aston Miller bouncing up the curb rather delayed Geppert there, so that's why he had to check up. Higgins goes for the inside, then Miller comes back across the front. That's super slow-mo. Really graphic, isn't it, as to who was going in which direction. So Geppert thought there was a gap, then he got Miller in front of him, then he got Higgins as Matt arrived alongside him. But they carry on, and Geppert did at least hang on to the place ahead of Higgins. So you've got a bit of a gap developing now between the leading 7 and then in 8th place, the car of Riccardo Iannello. Now, Iannello was a winner at Monza. Hasn't looked quite so rapid this weekend, and he's got the door open, hasn't he? Or the window is peeling out of the door. When he came into view, though, on the right-hand side, just looked as though the either the window was peeling out of the door or it had prized itself open. Let's keep an eye on this on the next left-hander and see what happens when the weight shifts on the right-hand side of the car. And that might be prevalent going up towards Blanchimont now as he turns through. Yeah, you can see the door is open. The door's open on the car.
Yes, well spotted, David. The door there, the trouble is that will likely become open at some point fully, and at which point he probably gets a black and orange flag. So we'll see what happens. There we go.
Oh,
just commentator's curse, I guess. That is so unfortunate. Iannello and that car has been really, really a challenger at the front, but that's going to, unfortunately, end up with a black and orange.
Yeah, absolutely. That flag to say you need to come into the pits and sort out a mechanical problem of which you may not be aware. He probably is aware in it, in fairness, because he's the only driver with any air conditioning, really, at the minute. So you've got then number 81, the car currently in the hands of Riccardo Iannello, heading for pit lane. It's curious, isn't it, that it's taken a couple of laps for that to manifest. I mean, it may have been there from the start, but whether it's that he's hit a curb and damaged the latch in the impact and it's therefore prized open, or it didn't close properly on the grid from a mechanic, we'll have to wait and see. But at certain parts of the track, like here, it looks okay, but on other parts, of course, the air gets into it and the door is open. They're number 68, yesterday's winners, Harry Burgoyne, getting a little bit nearer, and a challenge being made. Harry trying to get up the inside of the traffic. He's cleared William Gosselin on this lap, so the car ahead of him now is the Patrick Schober Target racing car that's got Alessandro Fabi at the wheel of it. Fabi never got into the car yesterday because Schober was involved in a battle that damaged the suspension. So we're seeing what Fabi can do. He was a pretty fiery driver at Monza.
Yes, it was a really impressive performance at Monza from Fabi. So, and again, I think he's out of position in 9th there, but making his way up is definitely a sort of top 3, top 4 material. Hopefully he'll make up some room, but going there, 4 positions. He started 14th, he's now P10. So the SMC car making his way through. Yeah, but going nicely, and Fabi losing place after place because and he's got hip and shouldered out of the way. It's piff paff. So Alessandro Fabi was losing ground, and there's a little bit of a coming together, and he's all over the grass. He may be heading for the pit lane, where he will join Philippe Pret, who's in with a drama as well. So Alessandro Fabi then back on track. But that car, as I say, was losing places anyway and does not look 100%. Michael O'Brien, in the meantime, is getting clear of the opposition. He comes now down towards the chicane once more. He's still got another 10 minutes or so before he needs to worry about the pit window. Matt Higgins having another go to get past Aston Miller, who likes the curb on the inside, and Higgins gets through this time. Nicely done. These 3 are battling throughout the race there. It hasn't stopped, really. Fantastic racing there from those 3 cars there on screen. And Jon Lnacaster also, I mean, the gap's still 1.3 seconds. So John's been able to stay with Michael O'Brien, and the gap has not improved. Now,
here you've got cars into the chicane as to the, in replay, outside of Aston Miller goes Matt Higgins. Nicely done that. Clean, incisive, no contact.
Absolutely. Just saw an opportunity there, put his car in, showed all of his car, which is crucial in that point, and took the position. Very good.
Philippe Pret with a a problem. Looks like liquid dribbling from the brakes there. As here, you've got the car number 33 of Hugo Back involved in a big battle. Also, William Gosselin going off the road in treble 5 and back on again. So, different battles all the way up and down the order here. Hugo Back from the Lamborghini Super Trofeo coming up towards Le Con. He's got Callum Davis alongside him in number 23, and Callum right round the outside. He pulled that move yesterday and he's done it again, but he runs a little bit wide. He's off the road, gets back on again, and to the inside line goes Hugo Back. They rub, they lean on each other, they do it again. Callum Davis gets well elbowed out all over the grass, gets the car back onto the circuit, but he's 3 places down.
Yeah, some hard racing going there. I think into Le Combe, you know, he went out wide, Hugo Back there. He took the position, but it went out wide. I think, you know, strictly speaking, he should have given the position back because he gained that position going off track. He didn't, and he fought his way into the next right-hander, and it was on the grass. So great racing, but a little bit too much contact there. I'm sure the stewards will look at that, and yeah, we'll see what happens after the race.
Callum Davis, as I say, pulled that move around the outside, but he also went off the road, didn't he? He had to use the runoff area at Le Con. Didn't quite get the car slowed down in time, so 2 incidents really within 1. Load of people being given track limit warnings, and we did have penalties for track limits coming yesterday, so drivers do need to be careful of all of this. As you look there at number 555, William Gosselin. Behind him now then is Callum Davis, who's got to redo some of his good work. Ferdinando Daria next up. Both Daria and Davis from the back row of the grid.
Higgins there fighting for a podium position at this stage, but he is hanging. As you said, with track limits, he's got 2 already.
Through Blanchimont comes 23 then. Callum Davis trying to fight his way back up the order now, as the fastest lap of the race has been claimed incidentally by Michael O'Brien from earlier on. The lead car over the timing line now, 5 laps in the book. But you're right about Jon Lnacaster sort of steadying the ship, as it were, maintaining this 1.3 second deficit. He's not getting any closer, but he's not falling back. Max Tarillion is 3rd, James Higgins 4th, Matt Higgins unrelated 5th, 6th Alejandro Geppert, Aston Miller is 7th, Harry Burgoyne is 8th, Riccardo Iannello is 9th. Flappy door or not, he's staying out there, and in 10th place it is Vincenzo Scarpetta.
Great pace by Max Tarillion as well. We haven't spoken much about him, and is you know, almost matching the lap times of the first 2 ahead. He's only about 2.5 seconds there from the lead, but with a 24.9 there against a 24.6 from Lnacaster, he's keeping them in touch.
And there Alejandro Geppert versus Matt Higgins. Higgins ahead, Geppert right behind them. Aston Miller trying to buy into this. And any dramas, any concerns that race control may have had about that door on Riccardo Iannello's car seem to have gone away, because there's been no black and orange flag that we've been aware of, and we've not really seen any more evidence of the door wide open. I can't believe he's been able to reach across and close it.
Funny enough, I was just thinking that whether he was able to actually, you know, effect some kind of repair there from inside the cockpit, but it may be the aerodynamics just keeps the thing shut more than open, so we'll see.
Indeed so. Well, they have got the pit window coming in 6.5 minutes time, so it might be in early, and liberal applications of sticky tape to be applied. There it is, and it's still not latched, so the door still flaps open. But when he's running on his own like this, it's only a drama for him. And the way that the door is, it's because the door goes up rather than out, it's not going to necessarily fly off when the wind catches it. So maybe the technical delegate, Bob Bassett, is content on the basis that when the car pits, you've got to do something about it. We'll let you carry on for now, but you've got to get it fixed in the stops. So there Matt Higgins comes out of the Cours Paul Frère. Yeah, Max Tarillion, you were saying about him in 3rd place, new to the championship as well, somebody that we've not seen in McLaren Trophy Europe before, and going very well. Got caught up in a drama yesterday, early in his stint, but looking pretty racy right now.
Yeah, in fact, the last lap was actually faster than the 2 leaders by 2 or 3 tenths, so he's doing a great job there in 3rd place.
Yeah, Max Tarillion driving along with Kevin Rorsheid in the Paddock Motorsport car. It's a Pro-Am entry, so that car one to watch in the fight against Jon Lnacaster. There you've got the fight with, further back, Hugo Back, William Gosselin, Callum Davis, and in 28 coming out of the chicane, Lucas Valcre. So this squabble is sort of the other half of the grid. This is 10th and back, isn't it, really?
Yes, and sorry, I was just looking at the screen, David, and in fact, that battle there between Higgins, Geppert and Miller, it's hotting up again, and but all of them with 2 track limit warnings. So it's yeah, we'll see what happens when they change over. But obviously the track limit is cumulative, so the driver that comes in will still have a car that has track limit warnings.
Now also, having just looked at the door again, Riccardo Iannello is in the pits now. On the road, you are looking at Christian Brooks, number 99, the orange car, going around the outside there of Vincenzo Scarpetta. So that's now for 9th place. But the Riccardo Iannetta entry for Target Racing in the pits. And I think he's on his way back out now. He's already been in for nearly a minute, so it looks like he's had the stop. They've tried to secure the door and are about to send him back out, and that's a big frustration because he's still got to do the regulation pit stop.
I think the thing is they must have given him the black and orange because it's 4.5 minutes to pit window open. As a team, you would have been hoping for that to happen, and they can effect some repairs during the pits. But we haven't seen a warning here on our screens, but it must have had a black and orange to come in.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, because, yeah, the team wouldn't waste a pit stop if it didn't need to, if it hadn't been told to do so. Right here, Higgins versus Geppert, take 15, and Higgins back up the inside. Alejandro Geppert tries to get the switch back, going up towards Paul Frère, can't do it. This is for 5th place overall. Higgins, one of the pro cars, whereas Geppert is... sorry, no, they're both Pro-Am cars, aren't they? Matt Higgins with David Coelho. It's James Higgins ahead, who's a pro car. So Matt Higgins fends off Geppert both for the overall place and for a class place. And very wide goes Matt Higgins. That gives Alejandro Geppert the chance to come up alongside him now on the run to the chicane. And he's got the job done nicely on that side. Miller thinking about making a dive as well.
This is the fight of the race for me. Those three have been at it, hammer and tongs, absolutely, from lap 1. And great display of skill there. All three. Not a great deal of contact. There's been a little bit of paint rubbing there, but nothing too major.
Down to La Source they come then. We're getting closer to that pit window, but of course, in these Pro-Am cars, you're going to want the pro to do the lion's share of the work, so they will stay in for as much of the available drive time.
That's it. Obviously, the strategy is to get the guy that's the fastest on that day, for whatever reason, to stay in the car the longest. And that's just simply a winning strategy. And but we'll see how that develops during the pit stops. Obviously, cars that did well yesterday will have success penalties to be added on. And where's Burgoyne now? Thinking of him, because obviously he won race 1 yesterday. He's in 8th position, but he will have, unfortunately, another 7 seconds to his pit stop.
He will. Aston Miller through on the inside there to get ahead of Matt Higgins for 6th. So Matt's lost 2 places in the space of half a lap, which is interesting. Aston Miller fights back, but look at the way that Geppert, having cleared Higgins, has checked out.
That's it. So Geppert obviously more pace than Higgins at this stage in the race for whatever reason. I wonder if Higgins has an issue, because he really has dropped back quite a bit on this lap. So maybe he has a slight issue there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is certainly possible, and so we'll have to keep an eye to what extra work is done in the pit stop. Now, is Jon Lnacaster coming back at Michael O'Brien? The answer is yes, he is. From 1.3 seconds, that lead gap down to 8/10 last time. O'Brien in a pro car, Lancaster Pro-Am, so they are their respective class leaders. But John might quite like to put the car in the lead of the race before he has to bring it in. Max Tarillion, second in that Pro-Am competition, is next in the queue. Then it's James Higgins from Geppert, Miller and Matt Higgins in 7th place. And Harry Burgoyne's car has never really caught alive, has it, from 8th? He's made progress, but then sort of plateaued a little bit without ever quite getting up with that leading train. Same true of Callum Davis, in fairness. I know he's had a busier race maybe in terms of traffic, but he's never quite been able to wriggle through it and then go after the leading line. We're not yet at the pit window. We've got about 50 seconds before it opens. 1 or 2 back markers might be able to take advantage of it this lap. But anyway, these you wouldn't expect to come in, because these are the quick drivers.
That's it. And what a great job again, Jon Lnacaster there. Just keeping Michael O'Brien very honest there, with only a 9/10 gap between them now on this lap. So obviously Jon Lnacaster on a push now before he hands over to Ron Trenka.
True enough, as O'Brien goes downhill, so Josh Mason will take over that car. Now, last time over the timing line, new fastest lap of the race, Alejandro Geppert. So now that he's up into 5th place and clear of traffic, Geppert is on a mission. So is this man, Michael O'Brien. The gap 9/10 over Jon Lnacaster. Maximilian Tarillion 3rd. Really impressive race this for a McLaren Trophy Europe rookie in the familiar sort of purple colours of Paddock Motorsport. The pit window is now open. And Alessandro Fabi, who got roughed up earlier on, was possibly the first one that could take advantage of that. He's not yet got to the end of that third sector. Emily Bishop and also Ricardo Aineto could take advantage because they've yet to get to the timing line. Aineto, of course, in last place after that enforced pit stop.
Yeah, so unfortunate there for the 81 car with that door open, and he's got a lot of ground to make up now from the back of the grid with effectively 20 minutes to go in the race.
That's right. So here's the lead situation. Michael O'Brien downhill. Lap 9 coming into ProAm. Jon Lnacaster in second spot. Tirillion's fallen back all of a sudden, has he? You've now got James Higgins fourth, Alejandro Geppert fifth. But Max Tirillion seems to have lost a big chunk of time. His last lap was good. His first sector was good. But maybe he had a moment up at Bruxelles, because you can see the way that the daylight has widened between second and third, Lancaster and Tirillion. This is Alejandro Geppert. He's fifth, and he's going to give way to Eric Behrens. That could be on for a second Pro-Am win of the weekend, the way it's going.
Looking very strong for the Alphard car, for sure. I mean, his last lap was nearly a second faster than Michael O'Brien leading this race. So Geppert absolutely on fire at the moment.
Yeah, really impressive. He's somebody else we'd like to see more of in international GT multi-mark racing, having proved his worth in McLaren Trophy. Lancaster on the extra power look, going after the leader, Michael O'Brien. So Jon Lnacaster, with a little bit of debris flying from the car or from underneath the car, goes into Blanchimont and into the chicane. Let's see whether the leading line is prepared to do another lap. Yes, in the case of O'Brien. Yes, in the case of Lancaster and Tirillion, and also James Higgins, and definitely Alejandro Geppert. Then Aston Miller is in sixth, and he's going for the pit lane, as behind Burgoyne has got past Matt Higgins. So Harry Burgoyne getting past Matt, but you can see again the amount of time that Matt Higgins has lost. I think you're right, that car's got some sort of gremlin, because it has lost a big chunk of time over the last couple of laps.
Yeah, Higgins on a 2:27. I mean, he's like 3 seconds off the fastest lap, so clearly something not right with that car.
Into the pit lane also, you can see is coming, I think, Lucas Valcre and Alessandro Fabi had already been in, so more and more of them from the rear come to the pit lane. So yeah, Christian Brooks, number 99, to give way to Lagim Ali, as here is Jon Lnacaster. Now, where does that bit of debris come from?
I think it's on the rear quarter panel, like behind the window. Something just came loose there from the bodywork. Nothing major, it won't affect the car at all.
So Matt Higgins, having fallen back behind Harry Burgoyne, in 7th place now. Yeah, you can see pit stop cycling through. So 23, Callum Davis in to give way to Luca Magnussen. Jan Magnussen's youngest son. Will Martin is getting ready to take over from Hugo Back. And still that leading, what have we got? 7 cars press on. Now Aston Miller giving way to Ben Mulryan. They went pretty well yesterday, 5th place. And that rejoining is number 9, Alessandro Fabi, giving way now to Patrick Schober. Now, yesterday, Schober was really quick, got involved in an incident that damaged the suspension, and the car was out of the race. But Patrick Schober, I think, will be pretty rapid in this stint now as he gets on track. Other pit stops are cycling through, with the race having pretty much half still to go, 26 minutes on the clock. So there, down the hill is Ben Mulryan, who now takes over from Aston Miller. That was a car that, as I say, went well in terms of the result yesterday, but did seem to lose a little bit of pace late race. There is Tirillion chasing Lancaster, chasing O'Brien. These are the 3 leaders. So Michael O'Brien, conscious that Josh Mason will do the second stint, needing to make a plan as to when it's best to come in, and it's not this lap, nor does Lancaster yet give way to Ron Trenka, nor does Tirillion give way to Rorschach, but you have got James Higgins in to give way now to Edgar Pierre. That will put Alejandro Geppert to 4th overall. Back on track, Ben Mulryan's car, but he's taken over from Aston Miller. And Ben Mulryan, former Fiesta Junior racer turned Porsche Cayman racer, now coming to European tracks and McLaren Trophy Europe this year. The DTO Motorsport car rejoins the race.
You have to say the Michael O'Brien car and Josh Mason, they're in a very good position actually, even though Lancaster's close to them. Remember, they're not in the same class, so on the Pro class, the O'Brien car, when it comes in the pits, will have no success penalty. They had obviously not a good result at all yesterday, so they the plus side of that is that they don't have any more time in the pits than the mandatory 132 seconds. And it's 132 seconds, that's loop to loop, pit in and pit out. It's so long because it's such a long pit lane here at Spa. But yeah, when Josh Mason gets in the car, he should really be in a good position for the Pro class.
I think you're right. That's Hugo Back giving way now to Will Martin. So Hugo Back from 9th place when he came in, and now you can see Michael O'Brien getting a little bit caught with some of the cars rejoining after the pit stop. But look at Max Turillian. Having said a lap ago he was falling back, now he's caught right up to Jon Lnacaster. We've got a yellow flag at Marshall's post 8, therefore within the first sector, and that's the reason, because it looks as though the Burgoyne and Aspin car is in the gravel. It's Harry Burgoyne still at the wheel, and he's got it wrong, or something's happened at Les Camps, but he's a long way in the gravel.
Well, what a contrast from yesterday's result for that car, winning the race, and not sure what happened there. Very unlike him to make a mistake as such, whether there was contact or some kind of other issue. Hopefully we'll get a replay and have a look at that. But very unfortunate for the SMC car there, being off the track. But this could be a safety car, David.
Could indeed. It might come after the window to let everyone get through their stops. As now there, Max Turillian is being given a 5-second penalty for track limit offences. So Turillian, with only himself to blame, it's only him in the car, he's being given the penalty. Other drivers are getting ready. That's Josh Mason, who will take over the lead car from Michael O'Brien. So, yeah, I can't see. Yeah, safety car is coming now. So the safety car is being deployed during the pit window. This is going to help some and hinder others.
Well, here we go. This is where strategy will play its part, very much so. And so, yeah, so the teams that can pit within the safety car window will definitely gain track position. There is Burgoyne there. Not what was on the script for the SMC car. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't think there was anybody around Harry Burgoyne. He was 2.3 seconds at the start of the lap ahead of Matt Higgins. So either it was a mechanical issue that put him off or driver error. O'Brien is in anyway to give way to Josh Mason out of the lead. Jon Lnacaster stays out. Now that might not be a good idea with the safety car having been deployed, but dice rolled, and O'Brien is helping to strap Josh Mason into the car. Puts the window net up, and Tim Mullen standing in the background from the Greystone GT team that operates this car. Michael O'Brien's work is done.
And what a fine work there for Michael O'Brien, yet again showing his class there. Pole position with 1 lap in qualifying and leading the race. Pulled enough of a gap there on Lnacaster to give him a little bit of a breather, but again, hats off to Lnacaster for just, you know, good pace all the way through, really, very consistent. And really like the way he drives. It's a very smooth technique, and the car is never out of shape with Jon Lnacaster. Very great job there. And Ron Trenka in a good position there for the Pro-Am.
They are, as long as they don't lose too much time on these stops, because effectively if you're able to pit while the safety car is out, it's a free pit stop, but under safety car conditions it's a longer, slower in-lap for Jon Lnacaster. Now the safety car is there, yet to scoop up the race leader. This is also one of the perils of deploying the safety car during a pit window, because the lead can be changing as the leader you're waiting for pits, and then you have to get the right car behind. It can sometimes catch out race control. So we'll have to wait and see, first of all, whether Lnacaster is a winner or a loser on this, but I think by staying out for an extra lap, it might not be the answer. We will see, but the safety car boards and flags are there. For now, of course, the drivers race until they get towards that queue. But you've got to say Ben Mulryan here doesn't exactly look like he's driving slowly, looking for a safety car.
No, quite right. He's pushing there to try and get back to the trail. And yeah, time will tell us about Jon Lnacaster, whether he's able to pit and come out before the safety car comes around once again. And in which case he will lose the lap. So, yeah, we'll... It's so, I mean, we love the safety car because it bunches everybody up and gives us effectively a new race. So, and that's what happened yesterday. We had some good racing, and I think we're in for another one.
I think you're right. So there is now Josh Mason at the wheel of number 1, and the yellow flags show. So Jon Lnacaster is in, and Alejandro Geppert is in. So that, in real terms, should put Josh Mason back into the lead of the race. But as I say, with cars cycling through, this might take a bit of unravelling. Some race directors will wait until the pit window is closed, then throw the safety car and get cars out of the way. But Trevor Williams here saying, no, if we need a safety car, we need the safety car. We've got to get that car out of the way. And it is being removed, so the operation is underway already. There is then now Kevin Rawshide, who's taken over that car from Max Turillian. the curb happy Max Turillian. And there is William Gosselin, who had a tough race yesterday. The car stopped, didn't it, late on down at Stavelot at Corporal Frere. The frustration today coming for Philippe Pret, who we lost with a brake drama, and also for Harry Burgoyne, that we've now seen in the gravel bed. So big frustration for him. Right, there's the safety car, and the car that it has picked up by the look of it is Charlie Martin, number 96. The irony being the safety car was deployed yesterday after Charlie Martin's accident. So that is not the race leader, number 96. That should become the race leader next time the cars trip the beam. So we are going to have a little bit of unravelling, I think, once the road is clear to get the right car in the queue. And yes, Charlie Martin being allowed past the safety car. So that can happen with the other side of the incident. So the road is clear effectively for that to take place. There is 81.
That's good news, David, because he's able to get out before the safety car came around.
Yeah.
So if now he needs to put, get his foot down and chase up the trail. He will be at the back of the trail, but at least he will not lose a lap.
Yeah, Gregor Yeats now at the wheel of that car that's had 2 pit stops, of course, because you had Ian Ether in to sort out the door. There is the Lancaster Trenka car, which has done its pit stop. It's been in for 2 minutes and 10, 11 seconds, so that's about to leave as well. So same applies. That's going to stay on the lead lap and join the queue.
That's right, I was actually mistaken. I thought that was the Lancaster car when I mentioned that, but that was the 81 car, you're right. So, but I think that's still ahead of the safety car, isn't it? I don't think safety cars come through Eau Rouge yet. So yeah, there is the safety car you can see on the pit straight. So I think that that Lancaster number 80 car, Lancaster and Trenka, should be able to get back to the trail without losing an extra lap.
So we really need the cars to trip the beam one more time before we get a proper idea of the order. But these cars are on their 13th lap, and they are going to slot in at the back of the queue. So unless the safety car sorts out picking up number 80 rather than number 1, they're going to gain a lap. So on the road, number 1, Josh Mason, has been scooped up by the safety car, but he is in effectively 3rd place because the 2 that have just come out of the pits are ahead on the road. They're all on lap 13. So these 2 heading to the back of the queue are going to gain a lap on the rest of the field because they've come out ahead. So the answer to whether Lancaster and Trenka win by coming in when they did is very much yes, they have. They've timed it right. So have Eric Behrens and Alejandro Geppert. So this now is an academic queue because you're going to have number 80 Jon Lnacaster, if I'm reading it rightly, still the race leader. And when he comes across the line, he will have done 13 laps to the 12 of Josh Mason, who is stuck behind the safety car. So this now is the pack that needs to be released. They all need to be waved past the safety car, and the safety car needs to scoop up number 80, Jon Lnacaster, with Ron Trenka now at the wheel of the car.
That was a bit of a mix-up, that was, and
well, it's one of the problems of doing the safety car during the pit window, because while a car that you think is the leader is in the pits, you go for the next one, but it's like I say, it's when the cars trip the beam that you have definite answer.
yeah, the other thing yesterday, David, we didn't talk about it, but when that checker flag came out, we knew there was going to be 1 or 2 seconds for the end of that race. And I don't understand why they have to pull the checker flag out when they know it's going to be that tight. Why not hold it back, let the cars go through and then flag it? But that's a different matter. But I thought it was a bit of a call that shouldn't be made yesterday.
Yeah, it was so marginal, wasn't it? I think by about half a second it was early, but then, yeah, the result having to be backdated. And even in this day and age, a human error can still come. Now look at this, yet more penalties. One coming for the Higgins and Coelho car, another for the Lucas Valcra, Lorenzo Montero. Also Jon Lnacaster, Gregor Yeats and Ricardo Iannello have got a penalty. And 33 is the Hugo Will Martin car. It's all for track limits.
That's it, yeah. It's a big thing, track limits here at Spa. I mean, lots of corners where they breach track limits, and that's it. It really has an impact on your racing.
Right, so these two now are effectively a lap ahead because they're on lap 14 and everybody else is on lap 13, stuck behind the safety car. So the safety car either needs to let everybody else go quickly and then slow right down to catch up these. Otherwise, we're going to be in a bit of a mess. So there's 96, Charlie Martin. That's another car that's dropped a lap, but it was losing a little bit of pace early on. So now race control need to quickly get on with this, don't they? Because at the moment, everybody that's third or back is being compromised, no question about it.
Well, they definitely have the opportunity to do that now on this lap, and can't really see where the safety car is at this stage.
Coming up toward Blanchimont.
Okay, so these guys are coming to ProAm just now. They're not that far away, but they need to really press on.
Or slow down.
Or slow down. Not, I was going to say, not that it's in their interest.
Yeah.
I think, and Jon Lnacaster is probably doing just that. Sorry, Trenka is just taking his time there, potentially. But yeah, well, time will tell. Let's see when the safety car is coming through now. Blanchimont, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But we're kind of in no man's land here because these aren't going to catch the queue readily. But everybody else needs to be released from behind the safety car, which I think they may have done looking at that, because as they come down through La Source, yeah, the safety car is letting them go.
Yes.
So Trevor Williams has realised, the race director has realised the situation, so he's letting the cars that were erroneously behind the safety car go. There is the safety car now waiting for the two leaders, so the right thing is happening, and now the safety car waits for Ron Trenka. It still actually puts Josh Mason in a decent place, doesn't it? As the leading pro, he'll be third and will be in the mix once again. But Ron Trenka is the race leader. It also possibly puts Eric Behrens in a chance of an outright win, because Eric is a kind of AM plus, given his experience.
Very much so. He showed some incredible pace last year, for sure, racing against some of the pros.
Yeah.
So I think he can smell victory there. And Eric, as a good Viking that he is, he'll definitely put up a fight.
It says on my handy guide to being nice to people, he is coached by Joe Osborne. Eric Behrens, they've started this relationship, driver and coach, this season, and it seems to be working pretty well. I hate being nice to Osborne, but I might as well mention it. It seems to have done him some good. So they were winners yesterday. They had a win at Monza as well, Eric Behrens and Alejandro Geppert. Right then, so we've got 12.5 minutes just over still to go. We are under the safety car because we've now got the leader behind it, and we're waiting for Josh Mason. So now it's going to be a long wait, because Mason's at turn 10 and the leaders are up at turn 3. So it's going to be at least another couple of laps, I would have thought, before we get the queue together.
Yes, but I feel a bit of deja vu coming here, David. We had a sprint to the end yesterday. Yeah. I think we're going to have another one. Now I'm really looking forward to Josh Mason there, you know, make an impact at the front. But we've got Mo Ryan and Edgar Pierre as the next two pros. They'll be hot on their heels. So yeah, it'll be a fascinating 10 minutes potentially. Yeah, 10 minutes of racing by the time they get around.
The safety cars,
even less.
Yeah, safety cars almost at a crawl now, having to wait. The crew in the safety car being told what they need to be doing. While we wait for the order to be restored, let's have a super slow-mo look at that battle earlier on where Matt Higgins tried to get up the inside of Alejandro Geppert. That was being boxed off by Aston Miller. Miller launching himself over the curb, and as he landed, he sort of got in the way of Geppert. Matt Higgins on an earlier lap had also got plenty of airtime, hadn't he, getting the car up onto two wheels. That chicane, which is an uphill chicane, spectacular stuff, and in slow motion you can see the door opening there on the car of Ricardo Aianetta. Higgins versus Geppert. Bearing in mind we've all come back from the last event for these cars and GT World Challenge Europe at Monza, where we've moaned about the first chicane. This is a chicane that really works. You can go through side by side, and you know, you can gain ground on the inside or gain ground on the other aspect to it. This is a good chicane. 100%.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's wide enough, as you say, to get two cars alongside, and then when you get guys that really race hard, but with, you know, with a degree of sportsmanship, I guess, you know, giving each other enough room to race it. And that's what we just see. Look at that slow-mo action there with the cars over the curve. Fantastic to look at. These beautiful cars going through the chicane.
In fairness to Aianetta, there is quite a bit of damage on the right-hand side, so I think the door opened after contact. So somebody's clearly got into the side of him early on in the race, and that's what's done for the latch on that car. You can see there Ferdinando Daria with a rather battle-scarred windscreen, got a bit of hole shot on it. Aston Miller also having another launch up the curb, and that just fires him off the apex slightly, coming into the first part of the chicane. So, this is the top two, and the cavalry charge is not far behind, because Josh Mason, having to treat this like a qualifying session, is almost with us. Huzzah. So with 10 minutes to go now, Josh Mason is there. He's on his own mind. Kevin Rawshide has not quite got there yet. He's coming down the hill. So we're starting to build the queue of cars. The safety car driver has got through another couple of podcasts while he's been on these slow laps, occupying himself because he's not had to drive very quickly. The rest of the field are starting to close. There's Kevin Rawshide, then Ben Mulryan, then Edgar Pierre. David Coelho is next in the red car. Behind him is Will Martin, then the orange car, Larjim Ali. Lorenzo Montero. Behind him is Luca Magnussen. And then as the safety car is going to be in this time, is Flavio Olivieri next in the queue. Right, that's enough, says the race control. Let's get on with it. So Ron Trenka leads Eric Behrens. The third car, with all due deference, Charlie Martin you can ignore because that's not on the lead lap. So that is not part of the lead fight. But it'll be interesting to see how quickly Josh Mason can clear that car and then get after the top two, because you can't overtake, of course, until you get to that control line, the timing line, and the field now coming up towards it. So our safety car period done. We're ready to go racing once more in McLaren Trophy Europe here at Spa, and it's going to be up to Ron Trenka now to control the restart. So pressure on the AM in all of this. Eric Behrens is ready to have a go at him. Number one is Josh Mason, whose car led early on in the race. We go racing then now with just about 8.5 minutes to go. Then up towards La Source they come. Mason is on the attack, using a bit of that push to pass to get through the traffic. Trenka boxes off Eric Behrens. Mason is right with them as well. So 3 for the lead as they come out of La Source. And now you can see Ron Trenka trying to use the power, Tommy, to pull away.
That's it. So Ron Trenka did a fantastic job there. He's an AM, but he's an experienced AM. Perfect job on a restart. Josh Mason as well got rid of the car in front of him. What he needed to do is right up now on Eric Behrens' Alpha machine. But, you know, the Viking will put up a fight, so Josh needs to really fight to get around him. And look at Behrens there, just challenging now for Ron Trenka into the lead at Le Combe.
And the other one on the attack is Ben Mulryan, by the look of it, who's got himself onto the back of Mason. So Behrens goes for the lead. Mason gets up the inside for second. Gets a little bit crowded by Trenka. But you need to keep an eye on that black and white DTO car because going through shot Ben Mulryan, who was 5th at the start of the lap, is out an absolute mission. Behrens leads then. Behind him is Mason, but number 11, Ben Mulryan, could yet be a winner of this race. The car that he shares with Aston Miller, he's had a really good restart. Next up looks like being Will Martin now, and Martin was 7th at the resumption of the race. Downhill there's almost contact as up the inside Larjim Ali goes ahead of Edgar Pierre. Josh Mason goes for the race lead. Look on the inside line, he's taking Ben Mulryan with him. Nose to tail they run, they dive into ProAm. Mason leads, Mulryan is second, Behrens is third but still leading his class. He's now 4th because Will Martin gets out his elbows and he goes third. What a shuffle.
Fantastic restart there. We knew there was going to be fireworks there between the pros, and Behrens doing the right thing. He's in the Pro-Am class. He doesn't need to fight with those guys. He's now clear in the Pro-Am class lead, and now we have a race in our hands there with these 3 guys at the front. But don't discount Edgar Pierre. He's going to be quick as well. He'll come into this fight.
Yeah, the interest now is going to be whether Josh Mason can pull away. Ben Mulryan in 2nd place, Will Martin 3rd. That car of Ben Mulryan, good on this restart, but it wasn't making massive progress in stint 1. Maybe Will Martin is the real danger in this. He's been a very experienced and successful Carrera Cup racer, but he's just dropped off the back of a very, very wide Ben Mulryan a little bit. Mulryan steps way over the curb there, going through Blanchimont. And that'll be a 4th track limit warning for that car, so he's got to be careful. We need to keep an eye on track limit penalties now, because I think there might be a few more lurking in the system, as you've got over the line Josh Mason then leading the way. In 2nd spot, Ben Mulryan, and the gap between them is just about 0.2 of a second as Mulryan absolutely sends it up the inside, takes the lead of the race. Josh Mason can't get the switch back, so now we need to see if Mulryan can get away before Will Martin comes up to have a go at Josh Mason. Good move though, that.
Great move, absolutely, on the inside there. And held it. I mean, it looked like he could have locked up the wheels there and gone straight, but yeah, absolutely perfect move, very decisive. And Pierre, unfortunately, dropped back quite a bit there on that tussle around Speaker's Corner. and he's now in 9th position. That's not good for Pierre.
And others dropping down the order. You can see there Eric Behrens is losing out. Well, he was leading his class when they came over the line. Behrens basically has to stay ahead of Kevin Rothschild, and he is doing, because Rothschild is tumbling back in the queue. All these other cars around Eric Behrens are from the Pro Cup. And he's also fending off Ron Trenka, who's tumbled down the order with the field tightly bound. So McLaren leads Mason, and Mason now busy defending from Will Martin. That means that the race leader is getting away, and now also Will Martin, a 5-second time penalty for overtaking at the control line rather than after the control line. So Will Martin is third on the road, but a penalty is in the system for him as well.
Yeah, a little too eager at the restart there. You've got to wait for that start line before you can overtake after the safety car. And that's going to cost him a lot, yes.
It is indeed, because at the moment he's 2 seconds up the road on the traffic, but you can see behind him Lajim Ali, the very quick Danish driver who was on pole position yesterday, so he was the fastest of anybody in his qualifying session, and he is hunting down Will Martin as the cars now go into Piff-Paff. 90 goes by, which is Olivieri, who retired yesterday in the gravel at Bruxelles. He was one of our 2 safety car conduits. We had 2 safety car periods, but right now Ben Mulryan leading the way, 4 minutes to go, couple of laps still left in this race, and there Will Martin with his Damocletian penalty hovering over him, just kicks up the dirt on the run towards Blanchimont. He's all over the back still of Josh Mason, but Josh has steadied the ship a little bit now. Although Ben Mulryan has got through and got away, Josh Mason is hanging on to position.
Yeah, it's just about stay within track limits there, George, coming out of Blanchimont, and a very, very racy Will Martin behind him, so he's full in his mirrors. But he really needs to concentrate. Josh Mason needs to concentrate on getting back into the lead fight, and unfortunately Mulryan pulling away a little bit there. Last lap there, 2:26.6 for Mulryan, half a second faster. Or more, actually, nearly a second faster than Josh Mason.
Up the inside goes Will Martin then. This is for second, and Will probably has got the job done, although Josh Mason has good drive off the corner, and that's interesting. He's able to go through even though Will Martin looked to be using the extra power. So Josh Mason fights back nicely, hangs on to second place, going down the hill, nose to tail, these two. Josh Mason then just about fending off the similar Greystone Run car of Will Martin, but the real danger now is Lajim Ali, isn't it? They're in the orange car in 4th place. He's on a mission.
And he's got a lot of pace. He showed us that yesterday, so he's into that fight now. As you said, very interesting that Josh Mason did not use the push to pass and stay ahead. It goes to show if you push button at the wrong time and you get a lot of loss of traction, that you can't use it.
And now Martin has to think about defending, which might just enable Josh Mason to get away ever so slightly. They come into Bruxelles. There is Mason, there is Martin. The orange car is Lajim Ali. Up into 5th place behind them has come now Lorenzo Montero, Monza winner. Then up into 6th place, Luca Magnussen, having taken over from Callum Davis. Then you've got Edgar Pierre ahead of Flavio Olivieri. Eric Behrens is 9th, but still leading Pro-Am, and Kevin Rothschild is in 10th place. Charlie Martin and Emily Bishop, by the way, even though they're a long way back, are on target to win, in fairness survive, and therefore win in the AM class, but they're going to get the category win here with the demise early on of Philippe Pret. So through the Piff-Paff goes this fight for second place. Mason, then Martin, and actually Lajim Ali has dropped back a few lengths.
Yes, I thought he was going to come up. He showed very good pace there on that lap, but something must have happened, and Josh Mason now really needs to be clever about this, because 33 Will Martin has a 5-second penalty, so it's not really a challenge in that sense. He needs to keep pushing. I don't think he'll get to Mulryan. There's only 1 lap to go after this one, really. 1.5 minutes. So after this time around through the start-finish, 1 more lap.
Yeah, it's been a good push, this, hasn't it, by Ben Mulryan to build a gap, 9/10 of a second at the start of this lap. Time for 1 more then as they come into the chicane. There's going to be no doubt about when the flag goes out this time, because the clock will hit 0 during this next lap rather than just as they come to the checkered flag. That's what happened yesterday. So over the line, it is Ben Mulryan looking for a first win in this championship. Through he goes. And actually, Josh Mason's a bit closer as Will Martin now dives up the inside and goes through into second place. And this time he's got the job done going through the corner. Flavio Olivieri now being given a penalty for track limits. So Martin is up to second. Down to third on the road is Mason. But Lajim Ali is right on his tail in 4th. Remember, you've got to put 5 seconds onto that car's time. Will Martin gets the penalty. Ben Mulryan is still ahead as they come up the hill now.
I'll tell you, Mulryan needs to watch, because he's on 6 track limit warnings, and I wonder if, there could be a penalty coming his way if he's not careful on this very last lap.
And the leader has got a penalty as well now. Ben Mulryan has been given a time penalty of 5 seconds for track limit offences. So the top 2 both penalised. So it's going to go Josh Mason's way, this potentially, because that car's only got 1 track limit warning. Ben Mulryan is on 6. And he gets a penalty, and Lucas Montero's on 7. So Josh Mason keeping his nose clean. So the real lead battle now is between the car of Josh Mason here and the orange car right there behind him of Larjim Ali. So sadly, Ben Mulryan, not only is he being caught by Will Martin, but he's also got this penalty, so we can kind of discount him. And unless Josh Mason falls back for 5 seconds and a tenth, this is the lead battle.
I'll tell you what, David, Josh Mason's team need to be on the radio to say, use a little bit of track limits, because he's got some lives left.
Yeah.
And, you've got to play the game, and right now he needs to keep Larjim Ali behind him.
So a 5-second penalty for Will Martin. I think he got one earlier on for track limits in that car. There's also, because he's on 7, track limit warnings. So there's a 5-second penalty for track limits, a 5-second penalty for overtaking at the control line. So that means that Will Martin tumbles a long way down the order, irrespective of what he does on the road. Ben Mulryan leading on the road. He's got a 5-second penalty. And first to third, Mulryan to Mason was only a second. So here they come, checkered flag at the ready, but it's going to be another of those races where it's not going to be decided on the road, but by the clock, and that's Larjim Ali getting up the inside of Josh Mason. This is for the win. Mason is wide, coming out of Blanchimont. You've got Lorenzo Montero in the mix as well. Ignore the top 2. Larjim Ali trying to get up the inside of Josh Mason. He's oh so close, but he can't quite do it. It's going to be a drag race to the line between them. Maybe Mason went a bit deep there, coming into the corner. The leaders go over the line, and there's the drag race, and Larjim Ali gets ahead, coming up to the line, and that is going to be enough, surely, to give Larjim Ali and Christian Brooks the race win on corrected time. Josh Mason being mugged on the run up towards the timing line. Wow, great finish. And for a car that started way back on the grid, 18th, Larjim Ali and Christian Brooks, helped by penalties for others and by a really brave effort at the chicane. They're going to inherit the win.
It looks that way. What a fantastic finish. We're incredible finish of the race. And is it going to be resolved in the stewards room? We don't know. But yeah, there you go. Track limits deciding really the end result once again.
It's a shame that has to be the case. That's your AM winner, Charlie Martin, in the car that was pretty badly damaged yesterday. That car heading then to the line. A Pro-Am win is going to go the way of Eric Behrens and Alejandro Geppert. That's 3 out of 4 for the Swedish-Spanish combo, and a first win for Charlie Martin and Emily Bishop. I know the AM class didn't have many starters and even fewer finishers, but even so, good effort. So Larjim Ali and Christian Brooks the winners, Josh Mason and Michael O'Brien second, Luca Magnussen and Callum Davis third, Ben Mulryan and Aston Miller ending up 4th, and Will Martin and Hugo back down in 7th.
Well, that was some racing. What fantastic racing. Absolutely great to see that at the very end there, and that Larjim Ali at the end. Wow. And Josh Mason did a great job at trying to hold him back at the chicane, but it was a sprint to the line.
Let's have another look at the finish of the race. So keep an eye on the orange car in 4th place. That's Larjim Ali. He can't find a way past Josh Mason there, but Josh goes a little bit deep into the chicane. That compromises the exit speed. It opens up the door slightly. Larjim Ali 2 wheels over the white line, but just better coming off the corner. Through he went, and in fairness there, another car with a penalty, but Lorenzo Montero nearly got by as well. I said towards the end of the race, it's a shame that it's affected by penalties, and that is true, but thank heavens that they are being applied in race and we're not hearing about them hours later, because at least we know roughly what the situation is as the race goes on. Ian Watson, Adrienne Watson, the 2 permanent stewards to the championship, being able to be in race control and monitor all of these incidents as they go along, and quick decisions. Yep, that's a slam dunk on track limits, or yes, that's overtaking at the control line, and apply the penalty. So we know roughly, I mean, okay, there might be 1 or 2 more they've got to review, but we know the result when they come across the line, not having to discover hours later with all the judicial inquiries. So it is a win for Larjim Ali and Christian Brooks today. They started on pole yesterday and went backwards, but today they've come from 18th to the race win. 94 thousandths of a second, the margin over Josh Mason and Michael O'Brien. Michael will feel pretty gutted about that. Callum Davis and Luca Magnussen 3rd. Ben Mulryan and Aston Miller 4th with a penalty. Edgar Pierre and James Higgins 5th, ahead of Lorenzo Montero and Lucas Valcke. Penalised Will Martin and Hugo back 7th from Flavio Oliveri and Vincenzo Scarpetta. Pro-Am winning 9th, Eric Behrens and Alejandro Geppert, Patrick Schober and Alessandro Favi rounding out the top 10. And in 16th place, Charlie Martin and Emily Bishop taking honours in the AM contest. So the winning car of Lardim Ali and Christian Brooks takes honours. And a really good drive that by Lardim in that stint. Okay, he was thrown a lifeline by the safety car, wasn't he? But even so, used that to his advantage.
Very much so, yes. And the safety car once again. And we had 2 of them yesterday. Was it 2 or 3 yesterday? 2. And 1 today, which really sort of spiced things up a bit for us here in the commentary. And yeah, fantastic racing once again. And deserving winners there. Lardim Ali, what a great read. As you say, in the chicane, he read that car in front of him, Josh Mason, very well. He was very wide at the first part of the chicane, just took his time and put the power down when he meant it.
I don't think anyone's told Ben Mulryan that he's not won this, because he's arrived, look, at the P1 board, and he's probably now thinking, why is that bloke over there looking so happy? Because I won that race. But I think Ben Mulryan is about to be given the bad news of that penalty. So out of the car steps Lardim Ali, the Danish driver. That's Christian Brooks putting his overalls back on for the photographs, and the Pirelli winners' caps are ready. And there is Lardim Ali taking off his crash helmet. We might be able to hear from Christian Brooks first up while Lardim goes through the protocol, takes his earpieces out. There is Christian Brooks, who will be very happy with that. Ligier racer, LMP3 racer in the Le Mans Cup, and there's his co-driver. So we can go and hear from the 2 of them, Christian Brooks on the left and Lardim Ali. Let's hear from them with Bryn.
Well, that was almost the exact opposite, wasn't it, of what happened yesterday for you? Started there on P18th, I think it was. Let's just go to you to start with, Lardim, because that was an incredible, incredible end.
Yeah, I can't believe what just happened, honestly. I can barely remember the last few laps. It's like so much has happened, and still trying to process what just happened.
Yeah, I mean, just talk us through very quickly how you lined that one up, because he did run wide on the exit, didn't he, around Blanchemont, I think it was.
Well, yeah, I saw he was struggling on every exit of pretty much all the corners, so I knew like that's the one chance I had, so I took it on the outside.
Nice one, well done. Come to you very quickly, Christian, because as you're watching on there, did you know that your teammate was fighting for the win there as you were watching on?
Yeah, we saw he had the penalty to the Greystone car, but wasn't sure about number 11. But yeah, what a job by him. Some crazy moves at the end. He's got some big balls. So, yeah.
It was certainly very well done. Congratulations, go and celebrate.
Thank you very much.
And the winning margin, 94 thousandths of a second. So fabulous racing. And the championship, as we keep saying, enjoying its best season in terms of numbers, but also its best season in terms of racing. It's got a high quality of driver as well, with more newcomers, more new teams, bigger grids, and they're going to reconvene in Misano in July. So 4 races down, Eric Behrens and Alejandro Geppert lead comfortably in Pro-Am from Ron Trenka and Jon Lnacaster, with Dimitrios Papanastasiou and Fernando Dauria next up. Max Turillian is on a number of his own, because he has got a different co-driver for different events. Matt Higgins and then David Coelho come next. As far as the pro competition is concerned, Lardim Ali and Christian Brooks with that win doing their championship hopes absolutely no harm. But Callum Davis and Luca Magnussen are 2 ahead of them. And then you've got Will Aspin and Harry Burgoyne now down in 3rd after retiring from today's race. But great racing coming up at Misano in the middle of July. A totally different sort of circuits, but looking forward already to our next chapter of McLaren Trophy Europe. But 2 good races and lots of action at Spa. We'll see you at Misano next time out.